Hi guys, I hope all of you are having a fantastic new year. And so I'm back with another video. And in this video today, we will be seeing a game from one of the most influential people in the world of chess, that is the five-time world champion Vishwanathan Anand, the man that is responsible for single-handedly making chess popular in India. At least that's what I think so. So this actually is a game from World Championship match against Boris Gelfand in 2012. This is actually game 9. In this game, Vishwanathan Anand actually showed some brilliant understanding of chess and made some impeccable defense against the Boris Gelfand himself. So in this game, Boris Gelfand actually has the white pieces, and Vishwanathan Anand, of course, is facing him with the black pieces. So this game starts with d4, and we have knight to f6 from Vishwanathan Anand. This is what he usually likes to play, and this is also the normal approach against d4. So we have c4 from Gelfand. Usually, you invite black to go for the let's say queen's gambit declined with moves like this. This would lead to a queen's gambit declined opening. But in this game, actually, do have the move knight to we have the move e6 from Vishwanathan Anand, and Boris Gelfand in this position also goes for knight to c3. But instead of going for the d4 and sort of not playing very ambitiously. Vishwanathan d4 actually is not a bad move at all. D4 is perfectly fine move. But in this position, we have the move bishop to b4 as you just saw. So this is the Nimzo Indian defense, and for the first time in this game, we actually have the Nimzo Indian defense on the board. In the past 8 games that I told you, this is the ninth game. In the past 8 games, we did not have the Nimzo Indian on the board. So with this move, now bishop to b4, we have the Nimzo Indian on the board. And actually, I would like to mention that Anand had actually won the game 8 in just 17 moves. Yeah, in a world championship game, Anand was able to win a game in 17 moves in brilliant fashion. So if you want, you should also check out that game if you want a nice game for yourself. But for now, we have this move bishop to b4, and Boris Gelfand here goes ahead with the move e3, normal move. Now the basic idea of this move is that you can see that with this move bishop to b4, I am sort of pinning this knight. Now you can no longer go and attack or capture full center with the move e4, because let's say if you play the move e4, then that would just hang because your knight is pinned. So instead of e4, we now have the move e3. We want to get our bishop out and complete our development and castles. So first we have castles from the black sides, and bishop d3, as we had predicted, the bishop is now out on this beautiful diagonal, probably the most beautiful diagonal that it can occupy in this position, because bringing your bishop out, let's say e7 e2 would be passive because it would not be doing much on this diagonal. And also, like e7, it's usually let's say you decide to go for e7, then usually you play that when you don't want to allow this pin on your queen. But right now you can see that the bishop is this uh, light square bishop of black is actually blocked by this pawn, so that's not possible as of now. So we have this beautiful move of bishop to d3, and white here, black here actually plays the move d5. You have to now attack in the center. White has occupied all the center, so it's time for counter back. So this is now normal move of d5, and now we have knight f3. Black has castled, so now white also wants to castle. So that's a normal looking developing move. Knight to f3. Usually the knight is very good on the f3 square. It is controlling the center. It is also keeping an eye on this d4 pawn also. So that's a normal move. And again, as I told you, black has to now strike in the center. We have this very good move of c5 from Vishwanathan Anand. Wherein if you take, I am just happy to take with the bishop, and I have very good pawn. Usually, super GMs and people who are world champion caliber do not let the tension go. They keep the tension in the center as much as possible and release it only when it's beneficial for them. So we, for right now, we do not have any takes, and Boris Gelfand here just decides that he will castle. He wants to get his king out of the danger, and we have just castles here. So finally, Vishwanathan Anand decides to make things clear in the center, because as you will see, because after takes and bishop takes and pawn takes here, Boris Gelfand now has to take with the pawn. And now you can see a clear imbalance between black's position and white's position. You can see that black has this beautiful two islands of pawns, whereas white here has three pawn islands, which is already sort of bad thing for you. And also notice that white has this very weak isolated pawn. An isolated pawn is a pawn which does not have support from any other pawns. So you can see that neither a pawn is present, white pawn is present on this file, or no white pawn is on this file as well. So this pawn is completely isolated, like it had coronavirus. So I had to make that joke. So it is completely isolated from all the other pawns. So that's an isolated pawn. And since it is not protected by any other pawns, generally it usually it is weak. So that's why that is the bad thing in white's position. But you can see that the bar is completely equal. That is because due to this isolated pawn, white actually has this beautiful open files. It will also have beautiful attacking lines along this king. So although isolated pawn is actually a weakness, it is not like total loss for you. You have to play around it, and you get excellent activity for the compensation of that one isolated pawn. So things go ahead, and we have now this move of b6. Now, usually the idea in this Nimzo Indian opening is somehow the black has to get control of the open c file. Also, the play will revolve if white can somehow get in the move d5, thus eliminating the uh, isolated pawn. So if successfully white can engineer the move d5, all of its problem will be solved, and it would be slightly better in the position. So this move b6 is actually aimed at putting the bishop on the b7 and occupying this diagonal, wherein d5 will be actually very difficult to meet. So we have this move bishop to g5 from Boris Gelfand. Normal move, because it's this is annoying pin on this king. Now you can't move this knight away because your queen would be hanging. So this is very good move from Boris Gelfand. And Vishwanathan Anand goes ahead with his plan of bishop to b7, occupying that beautiful diagonal. And we have the move uh, queen to e2. That is also a very good move, because it protects your bishop. It does not keep any loose pieces on the board, because if you know the saying that loose pieces drop off, means if you have any loose pieces on the board, then there could arise tactics in which you could lose your pieces. And also this occupies a very good position on the board, that move queen to e2. So we have, after queen to e2, we have the move knight b to d7. Now what that this move knight to b7 is knight b to d7 is basically doing is, it is sort of getting out of this pin. Yeah, you are still under the pin, but now that your knight is protected, you can maybe play a move like queen to c7. And if let's say white decides to take, then you can take back with the knight and have a very good position. So after the move knight b to d7, we have now rook to even from Boris Gelfand, another excellent move. Open files are meant for rook, so he brings his bishop rook to c1 and takes this excellent open file. uh, Vishwanathan Anand, of course, is not um, like noob to these ideas himself. He also takes the open file with the move rook to c8 himself. And now we have the move bishop to d3, another excellent move. It gets away from this attack of the rook and gets itself back on this beautiful diagonal, attacking the king side. So after this move of bishop to d3, Vishwanathan Anand actually decides to take here. And you can see now that this pawn was actually this pawn on d4 was actually weak, but and Vishwanathan Anand actually decides to take it and converts it into a sort of hanging pawn. You will say that why did Vishwanathan Anand decides to provide a support to this pawn, that it was isolated, but now it has a support in the form of c3. But the thing you have to understand is that after a move like queen to c7 that was played in the game, there's a typical idea in the Nimzo Indian. The last couple of moves, if you will see, moves like rook to c8, then taking this knight, and after takes playing a move like queen to c7 is a typical idea of the Nimzo Indian. Yes, now white no longer has this isolated pawn, but now you can see that this is a backward pawn, and this pawn is now weak because it does not have any pawns protecting it. So now this pawn is weak, and Anand has converted the position of isolated pawn into a hanging pawn. Now this pawn is although weak, if you are able to get in moves like c4 and c5, it will convert into a passed pawn, and it will actually be white who will be having the advantage. So let's see who makes the 100% utilization of their resources and converts the position in their better half, because right now you can see that the position is completely drawn. So after this we have of course the move c4. White wants to get in as much space as possible and convert the weakness into a strength. And in this position, actually, Vishwanathan Anand plays this move of bishop takes f3. And after queen to f3, that is a very good move. But this move, actually, bishop takes f3, I'm not able to completely understand this move, because I don't understand why you would give up your second bishop as well, because here we have already given up the bishop pair, and now here we are giving up our light square bishop as well. And later on, actually, Anand as well criticized this move of bishop takes knight, and he actually said that it was an opening mistake from him. He blundered, like he misprepared some of the openings. He did not remember completely his preparation. So it must have been his move in sort of another line of the Nimzo Indian, and he mixed up the openings. He was confused. He forgot his opening prep. That's why he maybe played this move, because after move like uh, queen takes f3, you can see that bar has slightly moved in white's favor. That is because, first of all, usually this bishop pair is a very good advantage, and you can see that if this bishops, let's say, occupies this or this diagonal, then it will be very difficult for white to mobilize. Let's say if I'm somehow able to get this successfully get these bishops on these diagonals, then with these two pawns having these breaks, it will be very difficult for uh, black to stop them. But Vishwanathan Anand somehow misplayed this opening and took, and we have now this move. Basically, now what Anand has to do is he has to save this position, and let's see if the great player that Vishwanathan Anand is, if he's managed able to, if he is able to do that. So we have this move rook to e8 from Vishwanathan Anand, rook to d1 from Boris Gelfand, two very good looking moves from both sides. And now this move h6 from Vishwanathan Anand, asking Vishwanathan Anand if he wants to take and give up his bishop pair or he wants to go back. There are no points for guessing what Boris Gelfand did. He of course went back with his bishop, because his bishops are priceless to him right now in this position. And after the bishop went back, here Vishwanathan Anand actually shows an immense understanding of chess and a uh, great skill that he has of seeing very much deep into the position. Because Vishwanathan Anand actually in this position plays the move queen to d6. Now you might say this is a very normal looking move. I am attacking here. I am sort of getting away from this rook file. This is a very nice centralizing move. But one thing that you need to understand in this position is that this move, queen to d6, actually allows the move of c5. Because now if you, let's say, decide to take, and if I take back, now you can actually see the problem of the move queen to d6 is that you are on in the fire of this rook. So after a move like, let's say, rook takes, I can just go here, and you can notice that yes, I am giving up my bishop, but now your queen would be hanging after, let's say, I take and you take. In this position, you have just lost your queen. Yes, you can take back here, but you have lost your queen. You have a rook and a bishop for your queen. But Vishwanathan Anand actually understands that this position is actually not so horrible for him. Even though he is down a queen, he can actually defend that. Engine also, even though Anand is down a queen, not is much in favor of white and it is slightly plus for white. So Vishwanathan and Anand actually correctly uh, realizes that this move c5 is actually not so dangerous for him and he can actually sack the queen and get a very good defensive fortress for himself. So, if C5 is not that good, then how do you actually proceed in this position? Because this position is very good for white. Even though the bar is slightly up, you can see that he is the one who can only push because of this bishop and this pawns. So rather than allowing the fortress, what Boris Gelfand could have done is he maybe could have put his bishop here, such that let's say if you play here, then the queen does not have much squares, because let's say if you decide to go here, I will just play the move a3, and if you take here, then I can just again use the same concept of attack on the queen. At this time it would be better because you are not getting my rook, you are simply getting the bishop and you are losing your queen, and this would be lost for black. So after a move like a3, you will have to go here, and you can already see that black's queen is out of the game. Computer can actually maybe hold this position with black pieces as well, but we are not playing against computer, and humans would be, it would be very difficult for humans to play this position. So bishop to g3 could have been a very practical try. Another try could have been to simply play the move a3 and ask black what is its move, because you can see that black can move no pieces. It has already placed both of his rooks on very good square. This queen does not have much of scope. It can either go here, it can either go here, or it can go here, it can go here back. But all those moves are not very enticing, and this could be another very practical choice of moves from Boris Gelfand. But in the game, we have these sort of moves where Vishwanathan Anand just cold-bloodedly in a world championship game decides to sack his queen and ask Boris Gelfand that please show me your advantage of being up a queen. So in this position, Boris Gelfand says, I am up a queen, I am going to win this position. So he comes back with his rook, because as you can see, that's the only logical move in this position. You can't move your king anywhere and you can't block with any other piece. So he has to come back with his rook. And in this position, Vishwanathan Anand calmly plays the move c8, defending his rook. Yeah, and in this position, Boris Gelfand decides to play the move h6, a very good prophylactic move, making a luft for his king, such that in future there will be no back rank mating ideas where his king will not be suffocating on the back rank, and he can actually play a move like uh, king to h2. So after that, we have the move knight e6 from Vishwanathan Anand, attacking this queen, sorry. And let's say if the queen makes a stupid move like this, then already you are losing after, let's say, I take. Of course, Boris Gelfand is a legendary player, so he decides to go back and protect his rook. At the same time, you can see that I am defending as well as attacking your knight. So Vishwanathan Anand, of course, sees that, and he decides to in turn attack the bishop on the h4 square. So now this is actually a very good opportunity for Boris Gelfand to actually take this knight and actually double the pawns on the f file and maybe create some place. So of course he does that, he takes the knight on f6 square, and we have takes from Vishwanathan Anand, and here rook decides to take the rook, and after rook takes we have a couple of rooks that have vanished from the board. And after check, Boris Gelfand actually takes advantage of the luft that he had created and plays the move king to h2. And Vishwanathan Anand just decides to come back with his rook, defending the entire seventh rank, because now Vishwanathan Anand actually cannot win from this position. All he has to do from this position, that is queen down, he has to maybe create a sort of fortress. Basically, fortress is something such that you are down material, but you create sort of this defensive position that even though your opponent is up material, he can't break through. There is no way to make progress for him. So he comes back with his rook and tries to defend everything on the seventh rank. Boris Gelfand actually in this position finds a very good top 10, because even though this is a fortress, as like Magnus Carlsen has said that he does not believe in fortresses and he can create magic out of everything and he can win any fortress. So Boris Gelfand actually gives a very practical try with this move of not just this move but a couple of moves. You will see that now right now this Mu has attacked this pawn, so Vishwanathan Anand calmly defends it. And now Boris Gelfand plays this. I personally like this move of a4 because now what this move does is it is trying to fix this pawn on the a7 square. Now you can't just play a move like this because I can just come and attack and you will lose this pawn on a5 and it will be very difficult to hold that position after you lose that. So okay, after the move of a4 trying to fix this weakness with also plans that we will see. I will talk about them later when the position arrives. And we have in this position the move of knight to e7. Now, in the press conference that was held at that time, or in one of the interview, Anand actually mentions that in this position, or when he played that move of queen to d6, he actually in that position itself saw many fortresses. Like one of the fortress that he mentions is that he can put his pawn on e5 square and his knight remains on g6, and he can put his rook, let's say on, let's say white plays this move that was his original idea. He can maybe play a move like this, and you can now see that everything is basically defending everything. Knight is defending the rook is defending this, king is defending here everything, and this rook is also defending this. So this was one of the ideas of Vishwanathan Anand. Another idea is to maybe put your pawn here and somehow get your knight maybe to this square such that everything is again defended, or maybe get your knight, actually this square is very good instead of this. If you, let's say, decide to get on this red circle, then you can already see that this is defending this is defending, and everything is defending. So it's like sort of a fortress. Okay, but in the game after the move a4, we actually have the move knight e7. So basically, Anand, after seeing all these fortresses, decides to come up with this fortress that we will see in the game. So Boris Gelfand goes ahead with his idea of a5, and we have this move knight to d5. So what this move knight to d5 again is doing is we are sort of trying to protect everything and have beautiful coordination to compensate for the loss of queen. Boris Gelfand goes ahead with his idea of a6, and now you can see the total potential of this advancement of a4, a5 and a6. Because now what that does is, if you, let's say, your knight is no longer protecting this rook here, I can play a move like let's say if you, let's say, go back here, then already that would be very bad for you because of a move like, okay, in this position actually it does not work because I can just take and go with my knight here. So like I made a horrible move in this position already. But let's say if you in this position like already moves, like if you, let's say, play here, then I can go already here and you will be losing this pawn, or yeah, this could be, because if you, let's say, take now, then there is no way for knight to stop this pawn, so it will be completely losing. So actually it is a very good idea from Boris Gelfand. It is a good practical try, I would say, to play a4, a5 and a6 because now you can actually maybe sack your queen for a winning strategy. But Vishwanathan Anand, of course, does not make any mistake here. He goes for the move king to h7. He is just arguing that I am going to just keep shuffling my queen, king around here, and you can't make any progress. But Boris Gelfand says, no, I am going to make my progress. And he plays this very good move of queen to d4, centralizing his queen. If you can centralize your queen, that is always a good move, because now you can see that the queen can access maximum square. So a little by little, Boris Gelfand is actually trying to make some progress, but Vishwanathan Anand just does not care, and he plays the move of f4. Now you can say that since Vishwanathan Anand played the move f4 here, you could have maybe played here instead of d4. You could have maybe played a move like g4 and maybe does not allow the move f4, that f5. Sorry, that could have been one of the uh, yes, you could have continued, but Boris Gelfand actually goes for the move queen to d4, and we have this move from Vishwanathan Anand. Now, no longer you can see that this pawn is weakness because it's now protected by the pawn on e6. So we go ahead, and now Boris Gelfand actually fixes that pawn on the f5 square by playing the move f4 himself, and we have this normal shuffling from Vishwanathan Anand. Vishwanathan Anand just has to maintain his position and somehow draw this game. So we have this move now king to g3 from Boris Gelfand, just trying to activate his king because he has now done all the things that he had to do. He has gotten his pawn to a6. He has a very beautiful queen on the d5 square, d4 square. Now it's time for the king to get active. Another try could have been move like, let's say you directly force the things and play a move like g4, wherein I have to play something like this. And in this position, I think this move would have been very critical, sort of putting maximum pressure here. But Boris Gelfand in this position decides to get his king active because you can see that yeah, like there are no good discoveries against this queen. So he gets the king into the game. We have also Vishwanathan Anand also gets his king to the squares because now you have to defend everything. You can't allow simply white king to get into your position. So we have this move king to g6, and Boris Gelfand with this move of queen to h1 now is trying to infiltrate in the position because only way now you can create some play is by infiltrating and creating further weaknesses, maybe provoking black to like go with moves like this and this and weaken his position. But Vishwanathan Anand is not falling for anything of that sort, and he comes back with his knight, protecting this rook, also not allowing any checks on the g1 square, protecting everything, allowing zero checks. That knight is very good defender. So queen decides to retreat because it does not want to get trapped on this diagonal, because you can see that if, let's say, I don't play the move queen to b8, then I don't have much squares to retreat. So Boris Gelfand plays this move of queen to b8, and then we have the move h5. So now, as I said, we just have to now play such moves that everything defends everything. So now right now you can see that our pieces are beautifully coordinating and defending everything. So in this position, king gets further active, and we have just shuffling from uh, Vishwanathan Anand. Now Boris Gelfand goes and attacks this knight on f6 square. Vishwanathan Anand just defends it, and now we have the move queen to c3. Now this move actually has varied ideas. Again, trying to infiltrate, maybe trying to attack this pawn from here. So that is a very good move from Boris Gelfand. Vishwanathan Anand actually goes with the move knight to f4. Knight to e4 actually. And now you can see that Boris Gelfand actually played the move queen to c8 and tried to get in the position. But you might ask me that, or yourself, that why not play a move like uh, queen to f3 and attack this f5 pawn that is very weak. Because let's say if I do decide to go back, then I can play a move like this, and if you, let's say, decide to go here, attacking my knight and pawn at the same time and asking me that, asking black actually that what he will do. This position is actually, you can see from the bar, is now completely lost after the move knight to e4. Now you will ask that, but what? I can just take here with check actually. Note that this is actually a check, so I have to actually move. But now you can see that this king that had come on a journey to activity is now actually does not have any escape room for itself. So if now, let's say, queen decides to retreat back, I can just simply play this move of rook to d8, and now there is no way for you to stop this mate. You have to play something like this, but now you can get mated. Or what you can do is you can block with the queen, and then I can just play this move, and you have lost your queen. Sorry, yeah, you have lost your queen. That's not feasible. But in the game, we do not have anything of this sort. And after this, Boris Gelfand actually played the move queen to c8, and after that we again have the move knight f3. uh, Vishwanathan Anand is just shuffling between these two moves, protecting his rook whenever necessary, not allowing, like in this position, not allowing any checks like queen to g8, which would be very deadly. After uh, again, Boris Gelfand is actually not able to come up with any plan to break Vishwanathan Anand fortresses. He again goes to the b8 square. We have again normal move from Vishwanathan Anand, and in this position, finally here, I think, yeah, in this position, mm, Boris Gelfand decides that enough is enough. He has to make some progress, and only way to make progress in certain positions is to break with your pawn or take a pawn break. So that what he does with this move of g4, such that after takes and takes, you can see that after takes, Boris Gelfand plays this move of uh, queen to e5, sort of threatening this move such that if you take your rook is hanging. But Vishwanathan Anand again finds this beautiful move of knight to g8, because what this move was also threatening was to give a check here and pick up this knight. So he goes back with the knight, and you can see that that is now protecting the rook. Now simply moves like f5 won't work because I just take and you have just lost a pawn. Instead of f5, Boris Gelfand decides to give a check here and he takes the pawn. Also, what he could have maybe tried is he could have given this pawn up. Maybe this is one of the ways to play, but this is also completely fine for black. So Boris Gelfand takes here, and we have this very, very, very good move of f6. Now you can see how beautiful the black's position is and how beautiful the coordination is. You can see that the rook is defending this pawn, and this knight is defending this pawn, and it is defending this rook. This rook is also defending this pawn, and you can see that this king is completely safe because it can just keep on moving on this square, and it is defending this knight. So you can see that everything is basically defending everything, and there is now no pawn breaks remaining for white, and he can't make much progress in this position because, like, I can just keep making these moves and I will always have these two squares for my queen. So Boris Gelfand still decides that he will try for a couple of moves, so he goes back with his uh, queen, and we have, as I told you, black will just try to shuffle between these two moves, and we'll say that this position is completely equal. Boris Gelfand now is not allowing Anand to come on this square, but now, as I said, I have these three squares. You can't simultaneously block all these three squares. So uh, Anand plays this move of king to g7, and actually in this position, Boris Gelfand also agreed that there is no way for white to make any progress. The king can just keep on shuffling between these three square. Also, I can maybe come to f8 square whenever necessary, and my rook then can just keep moving between, let's say, these two squares, and this position is completely holdable for black. So from so that position was agreed to a draw, and now we like will go back to all the position where all this madness started. It is after the move, yeah, this bishop takes knight. You can see that Anand clearly misevaluated this position after maybe mismatching the opening prep, but quickly he realized that he is worse because of the two bishop and the plan that is you can see on the board with those two bishops getting on those active diagonals and pushing with c5 and d5. So he quickly understood that he is worse, but he was more quickly able to realize that he can play some developing moves, attack this bishop, and give up his queen for an excellent compensation with a fortress that he was later able to create. And Boris Gelfand actually, rather than waiting for his position to ripe and like slowly play the position, he decided that he will just confront Vishwanathan Anand with this sort of a blunder that maybe Boris Gelfand thought that this move is complete blunder because of the c5 move, and with this direct move that actually wins material but loses the control of the game. And after this move, Anand was like you can see that he was able to smoothly, like did not have any hiccups. There was no point wherein the engine showed any advantage to white. It was equal all the while, and Anand was able to swiftly draw this position in a World Championship game by sacking his queen against a player like Boris Gelfand himself. So that was the game and the video for today. I hope you enjoyed this impeccable defense from the Vishwanathan Anand himself, the five-time world champion, showing why he is such a great player. And if you like the video, as always, make sure if you are till the end to like the video. And also, if you enjoy the content of this channel, make sure to subscribe. I will see you in the next episode.